Back again with the ramp truck. Hoping today, got a whole day here to redo the rear suspension, and well, we're going to get all the suspension working today, I hope. After getting the rear struts in the position they're in, I need to do some work on the other half of that cantilever. If you can see here, the angles are almost the same. This is almost at a 45 and this is almost at a 45, our link off of the cantilever arm. And that's, I think, where we're losing a lot of leverage as well. Not sure yet if I'm going to redo the cantilever arms themselves. What I am going to do is, you can see I've got these other 4-link mounts. I've got this one flipped. I had them on the back from when I had the suspension back there. I'm going to flip this one around, and then I'm going to lengthen our cam or rod or whatever you call it to try and get it at a much better angle. We'll see if that improves it. If not, if that doesn't improve it enough, I'm going to go ahead and make new cantilever arms and make this back side of it just a hair longer, because we want this to be as vertical as possible. And right now a 45-degree angle is, that's why when it's going down it's more abrupt. It's not smooth when it's going down. It's just kind of hitting, because once it releases pressure from the struts, it just caves under the weight. So that's going to affect us not having good suspension movement during lift and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, and we'll try to lengthen those rods. I am out of spacers. I need those aluminum spacers to lengthen those rods, but we'll see what we can do. I've got some brake line. I may start cutting my own and just putting them over the rod lengths. But let's get started. Alright guys, so I've been working off camera here for a while. I had to completely redo the back again. It was getting all out of whack. My holes here, part of my problem where these holes were off a little bit. I had them drilled while the chassis was apart, but only halfway through. And apparently when I went back and drilled all the way through, one got off from the other. So I bored them out, and a suggestion I found in the comments on the last video is to use a rod all the way across, and I didn't think I had anything, but I went through my Tamiya semi-truck parts, and this is the tandem rear axle mount off a King Hauler. It's got these bushings, and then it's got a long bolt that goes all the way through. It is a little bit long. The bushings fit perfectly in this 1/2-inch square tube, so I just kind of bored them out and got it lined up right, and yeah, I'm happy with that so far. I haven't tightened it up, that way I can just pull it in and out as needed and save myself a bunch of trouble taking little bolts apart. A lot of my bolts have been on and off so much the heads are starting to strip out, so you got to reduce that as much as possible. Yeah, also I've tied the arms together. I did that on the #1 rat rod build on the front, I think, because it was just too small of a system and it needed the extra structure. And I think this one is a little bit too big. I made new arms here. I didn't film because you've seen me do it. I just did the same thing, just a different shape, and I don't believe they're going to work because it's putting the shocks at too much of an angle still. So I'm thinking I'm going to double up and put these on there, bolt it here, and then have the shocks up on that mount, and that's going to put at a better angle, and then we'll see what kind of lift and stuff we're getting. Hopefully this starts working better. I tested it with these arms and it was working, but it still wouldn't pick up a rat rod just because these don't have any leverage because they're laid down too far. This is going to stick up in the way of the bed, of course, but I should have plenty of room up here to have this portion sticking up, and that'll allow me to take those spacers back as well. So that'll be some more parts I can reuse later. So I'm gonna get back to work. So I got a little carried away here off camera. I forgot to film. I made this whole unit here for the back. I used that Tamiya semi-truck crossbar, made a spacer for the middle, and got everything jiving right. I had to widen the frame a little bit and I've mounted my bottom shock mounts to where the original cross member was, because the location I had them was too far forward. I've bolted the old arm to the new arm. This whole thing here is going to stay. There's no chance of it ever doing side to side flex. It's just going to be up and down the whole thing, either front or rear. But I think it's going to be all right, because this isn't going to be fast. I've got a very high turn motor that's just for torque. I hate these red spacers. They are very poorly shimmed. I think that was something free I got from RC 4-wheel drive, one of the mystery box items or something. And they strip out very easily. So, but yeah, got it all in there and it's jiving right. We're still limited on our lift, but we're getting about ½ an inch of usable, and the suspension feels much better. So, and it airs down. It has until I turn the camera on anyway. But that doesn't matter, because put some weight on it, all the way up, no problem, nice and fast, and right back down, slow and steady. I'm happy with it. That's working. So I'm calling the back good. We're going to move to the front. I'm going to slightly adjust the arm lengths to see if we can't just get a little more lift out of the front, because I need to be able to, the steering, I need a little bit more lift up front than I do in the back, just for the steering. So I'm probably going to fab up some new cantilever arms and try it like it is, because I think I can move it up one more hole and get everything working properly. I can't believe how easily this thing lifts this way. I mean, there's no electronics, but it's a motor, metal frame. I've got the R4 transmission, metal drive shaft, metal axle, aluminum fuel tank. Those G-made beadlocks are pretty heavy themselves. The thing probably weighs 6 pounds just empty. I would like to maybe change this. I need this support here because it's just too floppy. It needs to be attached at all 3 points. I probably will make a little bit longer one of these, but for now it's working. I'm not gonna mess with it. But this one is getting down here and touching the upper 4-link arms, but that's not restricting the lift. That's as much lift as it's going to get, because where these are mounted, so those shocks are fully extended. The way it works, the way it flexes right now and is going to perform, it's not worth fixing. The only way to get any more lift would be to make something hoop over that, but our arms here will be at too much of a tilt if this tilts down, so we'd have to lengthen them out even further, and then when it goes down, it's going to stick up even higher in the bed, and we really don't need that. I'm going to wait. It's working. This is as best as it's worked so far. So we're just going to roll with it, and once we get the bed on, if it's working with the bed and a rat rod on the back, I'm probably just going to call it good. But yeah, we'll get back on the front, try to get a little more lift out of that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be the last time I have to tear the suspension apart. Alright guys, so it's working. I went ahead and put another 40mm rod here in the back. Had to order some more. They work great. I'll probably swap one back in, or put one back here, as well as up front I can use a couple more. But everything is working. We're getting lots of lift. We'll see how it works with the bed on. I was just doing some work on the bed. I took some of the screws out because they are interfering with the bed sitting flush, and I'm working on grinding a little bit out of the inside of the bed for the screws to sit up in, so hoping that helps a little bit. Trying to get the body to lay flush with the frame, because it has had a little bit of a gap at the front because I reinforced inside the bed with some plastic that's glued on, so I had to cut and grind some of that off. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to attach the body, the main cab, but let me flip it around here and show you the front suspension. So basically all I did, I flipped the cantilever arms around that were there, put the longer side forward, made some new ones to bolt to the back 2 holes on that. It adds a lot of stiffness, and then I just supported everything across with these 40mm rods. I did a little different back here because I needed to give the struts in a little bit so they could go up just a little higher. Let me plug this thing in, and we're getting a little bit more lift. You can see there it's got, actually that screw's loose. Didn't finish tightening those up. But yeah, I went on the hunt for 40mm rods. I had to rob one off of the old rat rod. Ordered 8 of them off RC 4-wheel drive, so. Oh, I don't have the air hooked up. It's like, why isn't the rear going up? I don't have the air lines hooked up. But get it to go down. Now, I'm hoping with the weight it works. I need to lube everything up. It is dry. Trying to find the right tension in the center here because I don't want it to be restrictive on the air struts. So trying to find the right resistance here. But I need it to hold so it doesn't work its way out. I'll probably have to take these off and Loctite them. But doing this type of unit here where this is all square and boxed, it's really stiffened everything up, and it's really going to help with the functionality of it. There it goes. It wants to go down. It's almost. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to try to throw the bed on. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the air struts. I don't want to put it on all the way because I need to mount a transmission in there, but that'll be for another video. But I've got to get it on there and mocked up so we can see what we're working with here. So, I'm going to get back to work. So, yeah, I accidentally did the whole transmission mount. I just had an idea and it worked out pretty well. I needed to get it in there before I go ahead and throw the bed back on. It is just mounted to, there's an aluminum plate bolted to the frame, and then the transmission bolts to it on its end. It has, it's old R1 transmission. It's got holes on 3 sides, so mounted it like that. My drive output shaft is very parallel, and it will clear all my gadgets and doodads in the back. I got to put a couple more screws in the bottom here. Made it kind of adjustable because I couldn't really see what I was doing. Let me find some shorter screws. Now these, I've got 3 mounting points. I marked it for 4, but it didn't work out. The holes I made on the aluminum for the transmission were off just a little bit, so you know, it's got 3 mounting points. It's not going to be high speed or anything too wild, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm going to put 4 screws into the transmission though. Let's see if it'll work. And try to clean up in here a little bit. And we'll get the bed mounted. I'd like to, where are we at? I'd like to get the cab mounted. And I'm still kind of not sure how I want to go about that yet. That's too, I may have to loosen these all up. This thing is finicky. There we go. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I considered mounting the cab to the bed with some spacers on the back and just bolting it together that way. And then I can reinforce the front later once we get up there. But I'm not sure. I'm also having an issue with where am I going to put everything. So I thought I would have room underneath here. You can see I've notched it for that control box for the Proairrc kit, and it will not fit. So it looks like it's going to have to be in the cab. So my seat may not work out. So we may have to shove everything in there. I might be able to get a battery back here though. I need to take a look at that real quick. I didn't think about that. I could at least get that out of the way, but I think the Proairrc box is too tall to put the seat on top of. It would be awesome if that would work out like that, but I'm pretty sure it's a little bit too tall. So may have to scrap the seat. But I countersunk these as best I could, trying to keep it where it will lay flat on its frame, and it's close enough. Barely sticks up any in the bottom, but that's out of the way. Oh, my battery won't fit. I thought maybe I could slide it underneath the motor, but no luck. So maybe we can mount it. No, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm getting too far ahead. So I'm going to get the bed mounted on semi-permanently. Underneath, I went ahead and knocked down some of this plastic, and where the bolts are on the bed right now, holding these cross members to it. And I did take one each out of those as well. And yeah, so hopefully it'll lay nice and flush. And yeah, so let's get started. I got the bed on. I went ahead and tidied up the air lines. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to attach this box, but it's probably where it's going to have to live. I'll probably just make some kind of basic strap. I do have the cross member here. I could just throw something around it to clamp it down. This is not going to be a high-speed rig, so we don't need a whole lot of reinforcements. Yeah. And shortened all the air lines and got it zip tied up. You got one side of our system back here sticks up when it's down, and the other half sticks up when it's aired up. So it was just close enough, and we'll still should be able to cover it all with our wooden floor when we get there. I'm not sure yet how this is going to come up. I have to air it up and see, but I'm going to figure out a way to get the body to stay on, and we will see how it works. Test it out. Alright guys, so before we go any further, I'm going to redo the front again. I need more lift. I put the body on and did a little test, and it's still not lifting up enough to allow steering. So what I realized here is I've got this angle too severe. The struts can still go down pretty far, but I can't just lengthen the rod because that's going to bind out over here, I think, and these won't allow much more lift out of that. So I'm thinking I may have to redo this add-on piece. I don't know. Not sure yet what I'm going to do, because I get the chassis all the way down right here. The struts will go further, so I could just lengthen the rods and try that to start with. Only problem with that is I've got as big a spacer as I think I can get in there, and I've got the longest rod ends that I can get on there, so I'm really kind of maxed out. So I don't know, I'm going to do some brainstorming and we'll figure something new out. Alright guys, I made some improvements, but it still will not lift the back with a rat rod on it. It just doesn't have the oomph. I don't know what else to try, short of the springs and the air struts, but I don't think that's going to help enough. I know there's been a lot of talk in the comments about doubling up on air struts, and I've been talking with Proairrc about that. He even suggested that before I even received the kit, that it might be too much weight for just two. So that is a possibility. I know there's a lot of people have been commenting about the voltage. I'm just using a stick pack and all that. Might try a little more voltage, but I'm afraid if we start pumping too much power through the compressor, the airlines have nothing really holding them on. They're just kind of pressed together. They have a little clip around them and stuff, so I'm afraid we might start blowing airlines off, and then it'd be a fun problem to have. But so I don't know. There's still a couple options and things we can do. I'm hoping I redid the front a little bit. I didn't make new arms. I flipped the existing ones around, and I added 3 millimeters to all 4 rods, and it still lays out nice and flat. So hopefully, maybe, please have enough lift in the front to steer. I don't know if there's any way to overcome that. This is about as maxed out as I can get it, unless I make some giant long cantilever arm and along on the front end, and I don't know. I'd have to completely redesign everything, I'm afraid. So let's see what we got. We've got a little bit more lift in the rear. Body is not mounted, so it's being a little picky, but we have almost 3/4 of an inch of ground clearance now. So we really did pick up some there. I'll take the hood off here so I can see. Right now I've just got the body setting on there. I've got a piece of aluminum in here to try to hold it. The front still doesn't like to play. I really thought we were onto something earlier when I dropped it with the rat rod on it, but it doesn't like it all the way on the back. It likes it more up centered between the axles. It likes to lift weight that way. It doesn't like it hanging off the back end. So I don't know. We can try it and see if it still wants to play ball or not. Nope. Frontal lift. Rear is just not going to get it. So, back to the drawing board. Need to see about adding some more air. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching through another long installment of this. I know it's kind of tedious. It's just so much trial and error over and over. And we're going to get there. I'm not going to stop until this will pick up a rat rod on the back. In the meantime, we could try something else. There we go. Wonder, put the sand scorcher's pretty heavy. Yeah, they're all pretty heavy. That probably weighs as much as the problem is the body hitting the tires. It won't even pick up a Tamiya M05. It'll hold the weight once you got it up there, but it won't pick it up off the ground. So anyways, I'm going to keep playing with this for a minute and see if I can find anything that it'll lift. Well, sort of 3D printed bodies, not much it'll pick up other than itself. I'm happy with the more lift. I don't think it's enough in the front still to turn very much. But it's hard to tell without the body attached. So we've got a little movement there, and it's so jam-packed full of electronics. So, until next time, guys, we got our transmission in. That's a big step. Got more lift. Big step. Got consistent lift. We just don't have the weight capacity that we're looking for. And the steering clearance that we need. So, anyways, I appreciate you watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned, and see what we can do next.